Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I need to tell you a story. Years ago, when I was in graduate school, I had decided that I only had time for things related to sociology. So I would classify things that I wanted to do as sociological studies. I would go to Mother's Junction to dance to reggae music and study how many other people who looked like me came to hear the reggae music. It was usually me and my roommate, but we had a great time. The other thing I didn't have to stretch very far for was the music that was brought in by the world renowned ethnomusicologist, Dr. Halim Eldab. Dr. Eldab was brilliant and wise and compassionate, and he was so kind. He could touch you on the shoulder and you felt blessed. He attracted the best musicians from around the world to our little town of Kent, Ohio, that was populated by huge university. And whenever there was any concert that was hosted by Dr. Eldab, I didn't care what it was, a Japanese koto concert, it didn't matter. Talking drums didn't matter. I didn't know what it was, but I was going to find out what it was. Now, I grew up in a sanctified holiness church where you were not supposed to listen to music that was classified as worldly, and worldly music was anything that was not gospel music. In undergrad, I discovered how much of popular music I was completely unaware of. I didn't know major groups and bands and didn't know any of them. And so in undergrad, I quickly learned American music. By the time I got to graduate school, I was well versed and now ready to tackle the world. And so Dr. Halim Al-Dab hosted some of the best from around the world and some that were unknown from remote corners of the world, and they came to Kent, Ohio. I babysat for my friends who had no money for a babysitter and liked me. And so the kids liked me. And so I would take all these little kids like little ducks to these concerts and we would listen. And I learned all kinds of things. And the learning continues. And last night I was blessed with the learning that just brought it all together. My sociology, my studies in stratification, the unequal distribution of wealth, power, and prestige in a society, and my love for global music. In the group stories we tell, um, Gypsy Snyder shared a story about her father wanting to teach her the banjo when she was a girl and she didn't want to because the banjo was like not cool at all. And so Gypsy tells this story in writing, but she also sings an amazing song and plays that amazing banjo. And in the writing portion, she told us about a documentary called Throw Down Your Heart with Bella Fleck. I love Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. She mentioned the Carolina Chocolate Drops and all these bands that I love. And so I went to the documentary and I watched it. And I was caught up in the music of that documentary, but the storytellings and the coming together of the American banjo and the African banjo, because the banjo was created in Africa. But then I learned this piece that I didn't know. And being a person who studies the period of enslavement and anything to do with um, freedom and anything to do with it, I study race. I didn't know this term, throw down your heart. And Bella Fleck gets to Gambia where he's dueling banjos, but it's the American banjo and the African banjo. And he says, where does that come from? And they said, this is the point where you would say, throw down your heart. And he said, why? And what most people don't realize is that captured Africans who were being brought by ship to the Americas had to walk hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles to the coast. Most of them had never seen the ocean, and they had been told that if they saw it, that they should throw down their heart because they were never coming home and leave their heart there. We know of the tree, we know of the door of no return, but it was through this music from an American banjo player that I came to understand the concept of our ancestors having to throw down their heart just so they could survive. I shared that documentary with friends last night who were texting me back, "Oh my God, I'm loving this. Thank you so much." And then I realized that just telling stories every day and then opening a group called Stories to Tell where Gypsy told me a story, it gives you back the story you need. I've said before, and I believe it to be true, when you honor the ancestors with your life, they will honor you with their stories. And sometimes they come back in ways that you're not expecting. There were so many things that were thrown down, but I believe we have an opportunity to pick them back up. And the irony is, we need each other to do it. You all are the best sociological study I've ever participated in. And oh my God, I love you.